Hello, and welcome to the training video for Freeside. Freeside is an extremely important system that most of our employees use daily. Please pay close attention to this video and feel free to listen to it again anytime that you need a refresher. What is Freeside, you may be wondering? Well, Freeside is a database. We use it for managing and billing customers. It's combined with the request tracker system, which is used for ticket request and communication. In other words, Freeside is our company-wide to-do list, aka our work order system. It's our way of communicating with one another as well as communicating with our customers. So as this slide says, Freeside is used for storing customer information, billing customers, documenting customer interactions. It's our ticketing system, and it's used for documenting ticket progress. One of Ben's favorite quotes is, "If you didn't document it, then you didn't do it." We all want to work in an environment where the customers are happy, the employees are happy, and everything is running smoothly. We get there through communication, and we communicate through documenting in Freeside. I'm going to pull up the wiki. There it is. And I'll show you one of the ways to get to Freeside. Chances are you're going to open up Freeside this way once, maybe twice, and then you're going to make Freeside a favorite or a bookmark so it's easy and quick to get to. But so that you can find it that first time, please jot down how to get there. From the start page, you are going to click on Company Directory. And then you're going to go down right here to Company Websites. Now this isn't just our own websites, this is also websites that we commonly use. And the second one down here is Freeside. Click on that and voila, we're in Freeside. So as you can see, Freeside is not the prettiest of systems. Unlike the wiki, you're not going to find nice buttons with helpful images. However, like the wiki, you're going to find massive amounts of information. Just remember, the wiki is our company's knowledge base, and Freeside is both how we bill customers and our work order system. Before we go on, I'd like to open up the wiki here in another tab and show you a page that is going to be very helpful for you. If you go to staff training, right here in additional training, you will find a spot for Freeside. Click on that, and that will bring you to the how to use Freeside page. Another way to get here from the start page is to click on Need to Know. And down at the bottom, you'll see the Freeside logo here on this button, and we can click on that, and it will bring you to this exact same how to use Freeside page. So you are probably going to need to go to this page a lot in the beginning, and that is a good thing. Use this as much as you can. It's very helpful. Now you may be wondering if you really need to know about all of this. And while some positions use Freeside more than others, all of our companies use Freeside for one purpose or another. So the short answer is yes, you absolutely need to have at least a basic understanding of Freeside. All right, I'm going to go back over to Freeside and click on that tab there. And I'm going to show you right here at the top of the page. You can see all these options here. And the first one is Billing Main. This would show you customers that you've recently touched. It's a quick way to get to a customer's basic screen. The customer's basic screen will show you all of the customer's basic information, like their contact information. Every customer of ours has a customer's basics information page. Now I am going to go to Ben's Shoe Store. This is a made-up company that we've created for training purposes. As you can see, I searched for it in the second search bar, whoops, right here. And that is because this first one is for prospective customers, and this one is for actual customers, current customers. Now, another thing you can do, you don't have to put the company name in, which is what I did. You can also put the customer number here or a phone number, and that can get you where you need to go as well. Now, Ben wants me to let you know that he actually does not own a shoe store. At least he doesn't own one right now. I've been married to Ben for 15 years, and I know to never say never when it comes to Ben and his companies. Now, if you are at some point filling out this page for a new customer or making changes, please be very accurate. Database people love to say, garbage in, garbage out. In other words, if you aren't accurate when you put information into Freeside, then Freeside won't be able to locate the information you need. It won't bill correctly or help you do your job. If you enter someone's billing address incorrectly, or you mark them as a prospective customer when they should be active, then they won't get their bill. That is, of course, a huge problem. So one of the keys to Freeside is avoiding putting garbage in, so we won't get garbage coming out. Take your time and be accurate. On a side note, we don't use prospective customers in Freeside at this point, even for our leads. Now, please note all of these options here at the top. We can edit the customer, suspend, cancel, merge, refer, see their referrals. And down here, you can also view the billing events. Billing events are actions either staff or the billing system itself have done to the customer. Above these options are tabs. These tabs will give you more information about the customer. It's also where you can add notes and tickets. Okay, the difference between notes and tickets are important. Notes are for information that we as a company need to remember about the customer. For example, the customer has requested that we never call them before 10 a.m. in the morning. Notes are not for actionable items. If someone in the company has to do something for this customer, do not put it in the notes because nothing will prompt them to do it. What are the chances that they'll open up this particular customer and check the notes? It's not very high. So if something needs to be done, the solution is tickets. If you enter a ticket, it will be part of the company to-do list that I spoke about earlier and will therefore be taken care of. Tickets are individual events or customer action items. An example of an individual event is hinges squeak on the front door and WD-40 is needed. An example customer action item is Ben's shoe store called and their caller ID isn't working. Remember, put in a ticket if someone in the company needs to do something. But in a note, you just put in good information to have about that customer, but only if no one needs to do anything. Now, this may make notes seem unimportant, but the truth is they're very important. And whenever you're looking at a customer's account, you should start by looking at the notes and the history so that you're well informed and you won't make a silly looking mistake. Now let's go back to Freeside. There we are. And back way up to the top here. We're looking at billing main, and next over is ticketing main. So I'm going to click on that. Now I've been using the phrase giant company to-do list, but it's actually called request tracker. You'll also hear it referred to as RT or tickets, and you may hear it being called work orders in some cases. When you click on Ticketing Main on your computer, it will bring you to your ticketing at a glance, or RT at a glance. You'll likely notice that it looks different than mine. That's because it's customizable. Mine shows tickets in the Human Resources queue, as well as others that I need to be able to do my job. Some employees are responsible for lots of queues, and others aren't responsible for any. Using your job description as a guide, IT will, or perhaps they have already, set up your account in Freeside to make it easier for you to see the queues that are important for your position. What is a queue, you ask? Great question. A queue is basically a basket where tickets are stored. So if you think of a ticket as a to-do list item, then a queue is a group of like to-do list items. Here are the HR tickets. The only thing in this queue are tickets that have to do with HR. As you can see, there's one right there. If you're in charge of the maintenance queue, then you'll see the maintenance queue on this page. And when you click on it, you'll see all the tickets that are assigned to maintenance. If you're in charge of web design, then you'll have the web design queue, and you'll see all the tickets that are assigned to web design. One of the ways that Ben checks on the health of our company is to make sure our total number of open tickets remains low. If we have a high number of open tickets, that means there are lots and lots of items on our to-do list. And we all know that when a to-do list gets too long, it becomes overwhelming. Things get missed and mistakes are made. We have to all work together as a company to keep the number of open tickets down as much as possible. Now let's take a look at who is responsible for what queue. I'm going to take us back to the wiki. All right, we're here on the How to Use Freeside page, and the third thing down here is the queue assignment clarification page. So I'm going to click on that, and here we are, the queue assignment clarification page. Each queue has someone responsible for the tickets in that queue. Sometimes there's more than one employee that will work on a queue. As you can see, there is room for a first responder, second responder, and third responder. When, for example, ITN has a tech support ticket that comes in, Kevin is in charge of making sure the ticket is taken care of, but Travis and Jake also need to keep an eye on this queue and make sure the tickets are being worked on. Your manager will talk to you about the queues that you're responsible for taking care of. You can also check this list and see if your name's here. Obviously, it isn't on this list because I created this video before you were hired. So you're going to have to go to the wiki and check the current list. Now, most of the time, tickets should be taken care of the day that they're created, but some tickets do take longer than others. The expected resolve time column, which is right here, the last column, is a good guide for how long a ticket should remain open. That said, if you can resolve a ticket, then you should. Don't hold off on resolving a web design ticket because you finished it in 1 day, but the expected resolve time is 8 days. That would just be silly. If you can resolve it, then resolve it. Help us keep our total number of tickets as low as possible. As you go through the wiki, you'll find that many procedures will say how quickly a particular ticket or ticket type should be completed. You can use these guides as well as the expected resolve time in this chart to make sure you're completing your work in a timely manner. Okay, I've harped on the importance of resolving tickets, but I haven't talked about how tickets are actually created in the first place. So let's back up and talk about ticket creation. There it is. Okay, tickets can be created a few different ways. If a customer leaves a voicemail or sends us an email, a ticket will be automatically created. Some tickets will show up yearly or monthly, such as a maintenance ticket to take the swings out of storage and hang them around the fire pit at Brookpoint. Comes in, I think it's every March. Employees create most of the tickets. Sometimes we will make them on behalf of a customer who has called in with an issue. Sometimes we'll make them when we notice a problem, such as a burnt out light or a problem with a vendor. Sometimes we create them because we need something from another department. When you need to create a ticket, the first thing you should do is go to the wiki. There's a procedure called PNW6. I'm going to take us there and open that now. So I can either click enter there and it'll take me to the search results, or it also pulls up some here and I can see PNW6 is right there. So I'm going to click on that. PNW6, how to create a ticket in Freeside. Now, let's see here. Right here, you'll see that there is a video, and this is a video that Mel created, and it talks all about tickets, and it's definitely something that you should watch at some point. Under this video, you'll see that there are 3 ways that you can create a ticket. The first is via email. A lot of our tickets have special email addresses that create a ticket when a message is sent to that email address. This is the technique that I use the most for creating a ticket. Some of the most used email addresses are listed here, along with when they should be used. So if there is an ITN billing issue, then use the first email address. If there's an ITN service issue, then use this one. For technical issues that customers are having, use the tech support address, but if it's an internal tech support issue, such as your computer not working right, then you use the help desk. An important one that I want to point out is maintenance. If you see issues on any of our properties, put in a maintenance ticket. Don't just think to yourself, oh, someone else will take care of it. Take the moment and put in the ticket so that that running toilet or the broken doorknob or the stain on the rug can be taken care of. There's only one downside to creating tickets this way, and that is that if the ticket has something to do with a customer, then you need to go into Freeside, open your ticket, and attach it to the correct customer. So these really work better for more internal things, things that don't have to do with a specific customer. Okay, the next option to create a ticket is quick ticket creation. And I am going to just go ahead and go back to Freeside here so you can see there's right here it says quick ticket creation, and it looks like a really easy, simple, fast way of creating a ticket. But to be honest, this is probably the least used. Using the email addresses is actually quicker. And for internal issues, it's a much better way of doing it. And so it just makes more sense. People use it more. On the other hand, if it's something that has to do with a customer, it doesn't make sense to do it with a quick ticket creation because it has the same problem as the email addresses, where it doesn't automatically attach it to the customer's account. So you're going to have to go into that ticket and attach it to the customer's account. So this quick ticket is not the fastest, easiest thing to do for internal items, and it is definitely not the best way to do it for things that have to do with the customer. So to be frank, there's really no time where it's logical to use the quick ticket creation, but it is an option. It is there for you. Maybe if you're already in Freeside and you're doing something internal, it might make sense. At any rate, there's the information. It is there and it is available to you. Now, the third way to create a ticket is via the Tickets tab. In other words, this is creating a ticket inside of a customer's account. This is a very important way to make tickets. When you create a ticket in a customer's account, it's automatically attached to that customer. As I said, the other two options, the email and the quick ticket creation, aren't going to attach it to the customer, but doing it this way will. So this is how we keep track of where we are when we're dealing with a customer's issue, because often to solve a problem for a customer, many different employees have to get involved, and tickets are going to keep everyone on the same page. They ensure that the customer's issue doesn't get forgotten, and it makes sure that the ticket is done and the problem is solved in an acceptable period of time. To create a ticket in a customer's account, just open the account. So I am going to go back, let's see, back to Freeside here. I'm going to go back to Ben's Shoe Store. There he is. And then as you can see, we have these tabs, and the third one over is tickets. So I'll click on that. And at the top here, you'll see create new ticket. Now don't click on it yet. Before clicking create a new ticket, you need to choose the queue where the ticket is going to go to. Now, since this is apparently opening in a different window, you can't see that when I click on this, it gives me a few options. I am going to choose the Human Resources queue. It's very important to choose the right queue, so take a moment, think about it. The reason I'm making this an HR ticket is because I'm pretending that I'm a customer service rep and the owner of Ben's Shoe Store has asked me for a copy of our employee manual so that he can use it to fix his up. Now, when you're choosing your queue and you do this drop down, you may have a lot of queues there, or you may not have very many. Depending on your position and what queues it's important for you to be able to see, is going to determine how many options you have to choose from. Okay, so once you've chosen your queue, now you can go and hit Create New Ticket. The first thing we see here is the Requesters field. If the customer has email addresses on their account, they will automatically be placed here. Be very cautious at this point. If you want the customer to receive the entire text of your tickets, then leave the email address there. If not, then delete the email address or addresses. Leaving their email there is a great way to make sure that they receive notifications as we work. We generally suggest leaving their email address there. However, you need to make sure that you are aware that they can see what you are saying in the tickets. You can also add employees to the requester field if they're going to be working on the ticket. You can also have them CC'd if they won't be working on it, but they should get to see updates. The subject line is where you put the subject for the ticket. So in this case, I'm going to put a request for employee. And then down here in the bottom, I'm going to put some more detail. Okay. I'm gonna fix that little issue there, and we're all set. If you have files, then down here you can click Choose File and attach them at this time. Next, we're going to go over to this Basics box over here. Check your queue, make sure that that's right. And the status. We'll talk a little more about statuses later. Next, choose an owner. You can choose yourself, someone that you know will be the main person working on this, or just choose nobody in particular. If you're waiting on someone, you can click one of these in the extra statuses area here. If not, just leave no value. Next, we have mute resolve. You can choose to either leave it as no value, or you can click yes. If you click yes, then the customer will not be notified when the issue is resolved. If you leave it as no value, they will be notified. Please keep in mind that leaving it as no value and having the customer contacted when the issue is resolved is by far the best route to go because the customer is kept in the loop. However, they will see information that we put in the ticket. So if you're planning on leaving this blank, you must be conscientious about what you type. Have we learned this the hard way? Yes. Yes, we have. The best way to avoid issues is to always assume that the customer will end up reading whatever you write in the ticket. Okay, now we can go to the bottom here and click on Create. There. You have successfully created a ticket. Now, whatever route you take to make a ticket, be sure that your subject line is brief and clear. Remember, in the ticket we just created, there was a subject line there. If you're doing it with an email, then is the actual subject line of the email will be the subject line in Freeside. So take your time. Make sure, like I said, you're being brief and clear. So for example, DSL service outage is a good subject, whereas there's an outage of DSL causing problems here and there. That's far too wordy, and it's not very clear. Take your time, make your subject clear, concise, brief. That way, people can just at a quick glance understand what's going on there. All right, back to the wiki. And remember this trace bar from the wiki training? This is a good time to use it actually. I'm going to find the How to Use Freeside right here. Click on that to easily quickly get back to this page. Now, there is no possible way that I can teach you everything that there is to know about Freeside in just one sitting. Plus, what you need to know may be very different than what the next new employee needs to know. So to some extent, you will have to take your education into your own hands, and this page is how you do it. So for example, if you work with customer accounts, then these procedures here are going to be very important for you to know. In the beginning, you'll want to open up a procedure every time you do something in Freeside. Since Freeside is not always perfectly intuitive, use the procedures. There's no reason for you to make mistakes when you can just learn from other employees that have already made those mistakes. And then they wrote a procedure so that the mistakes won't have to be made again. Want to know how to add a note in Freeside? Well, here is PNW 13, how to add a note in Freeside. Want to add a new customer? Well, you just need to find PNW 14, how to add a new customer in Freeside. Pretty much everything is here, right at your fingertips. Now I'm going to go up here to PNW 88, how to comment on a free ticket in Freeside. Commenting in Freeside is one of the main ways that we document. And as I mentioned, documenting will be one of the biggest keys to being successful in your new position. As you can see, to comment, here's the step-by-step. You'll open the ticket that you would like to comment on, choose comment, type your comment, and then click Update Ticket. It's really pretty simple and so important. Now you may be wondering, when should you document? The answer? Always document any interaction with customers or when any action is taken. When in doubt, document. Now I know you're watching this in the future, so if someone has invented a mind-reading device that allows everyone in the company to share knowledge by just thinking about it, then totally ignore what I'm about to say. Otherwise, remember that your coworkers cannot read your mind, and therefore you must always document every ticket you touch as soon as you touch it. I actually considered doing an entire video of Ben just saying document, 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 document for like 10 minutes straight. Luckily for you, I did decide that would be a bit too obnoxious. But the reason I even considered it is that getting you to understand the importance of documenting is one of, if not the most important thing that I'll do during these training videos. Did you communicate with the customer? Document it. Did you work on solving a problem? Document it. Did you discuss an issue with a coworker? Document it. Did you fix something or try to fix something? Document it. Did you do the next step of a flowchart? Document it. Did you change something in a customer's account? Document it. Sometimes employees will fall into the trap of, I'm too busy. I don't have time to document it. That's like not getting gas for your car because you have too much to do. Eventually, you'll end up on the side of the road stuck because you ran out of gas. You're being paid to do a job, and a big part of that job is documenting. When employees fail to document as they go, they confuse other employees, anger customers, and make themselves look bad. Documenting is not hard, and it's only time-consuming if you leave a bunch of documenting to do at the end of the day. So don't do that. Document as you go. Okay, here's a little information I think you should know. Your employee evaluation is based, in part, on how well and how often you document. Okay, so earlier I mentioned that I'd come back to ticket statuses and explain them to you. So let's go ahead and do that now. That'll take us back to Freeside here. And I'm going to go to Ticketing Main. Here are my HR tickets. And here is the request for the employee manual that we created. So tickets can be in different statuses. Actually, let me back us up just a little bit here. So here you can see the status. We just created this apparently 7 minutes ago, and so it is new. Now, you'll also see tickets that are opened or resolved. Most commonly, those are the three you'll see the most. When a ticket has recently been created, obviously, it's going to be new. Then, when it's been around for a while, that changes to open. Changing a ticket to resolved is something that's done manually. So the switch from new to open just happens, but we have to change it to resolved. Now, only a person who is responsible for a certain queue may resolve tickets in that queue. So, for example, let's say that IT is working on your computer. Now, they're responsible for resolving the help desk ticket that was created for that. Since they are in charge of help desk tickets, they resolve the issue. Even though it's your computer, you don't get to resolve that. Let me take you over to this slide. A little more information about that. Because truthfully, we do all love resolving tickets because it decreases the total number of tickets. However, a ticket should only be resolved once there's no further action required. A ticket should always be documented with why the ticket is being resolved. Now let's look back at our ticket that we have over here in Freeside. I'm going to open that up and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to think to myself for a little bit before I actually resolve this ticket. In fact, let me take us back over to this. Okay, so first I'm going to think, is there any further action needed on this ticket? Well, no, because Ben's Shoe Store is made up, so we don't actually have to send an email with our employee manual to them, which really we wouldn't have done anyways. So, nope, there's no further action that needs to take place. Sometimes you're going to find that the ticket seems done, but there's actually a child ticket that needs to be created, such as a purchasing ticket or a billing ticket. So take your time and make sure the ticket is done before you resolve it. Also remember that you aren't done if there's still paperwork that hasn't been scanned and attached that deals with that ticket. Okay, so my ticket is done, so check. Next we move on to thinking, am I one of the people responsible for the queue where the ticket resolves? Well, it's an HR ticket, so yes, I am one of those people. My name is on the list, so I can go ahead and resolve this. And last, have I documented why I'm resolving? Well, no, I haven't done that yet, but let's go ahead and do that now. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to take a quick look and make sure everything here is accurate. If the ticket is attached to a customer, make sure that it's the correct customer. We're going to want to scan down to the history, which this is an important thing in general. This history down here, you're going to want to read through this on any customer that you're looking at. It shows you what's been done recently. But if everything looks to be in order and you are ready to resolve, then what you're going to do is you're going to go all the way over to the top right of the screen here. You're going to hover over actions. You don't have to click or anything, just hover right over that and then go down to resolve. Click on that and here we are. So as you can see, the ticket and transaction area over here, tickets and transactions, the status is now being changed to resolved. Below that, we still have this mute resolve section. Take a moment and determine if it makes sense to have the customer contacted when the ticket is resolved or not. Remember that if you click yes, the customer will not be notified. If you leave it as no value, then they will. Now, I'll update the body over here of this ticket with the reason for resolving. So I'm going to write ticket created for training. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to go down to the bottom here and click on Update Ticket. And there you have it. It's resolved and we have one less ticket in the human resources queue. Now, speaking of getting our number of open tickets down, you're not allowed to just move a ticket to somebody else's queue unless it is truly in the wrong place. So for example, if there was a request from an employee to have a light bulb in the entryway replaced and it was in the HR queue, I would move it to the maintenance queue because it's obviously in the wrong place. As I mentioned, when you do anything in Freeside, you need to make notes about what you're doing. So in that case, I would say that I'm moving it because it was in the incorrect queue. But other than something like that happening, you do not move a ticket. If you need another department's help so that you can resolve your ticket, then you create a child ticket. For example, if you are working on a repair and you need to purchase something, and that needs to happen in order for you to finish your ticket, then you would create a child ticket in the finance purchasing queue. Now, child tickets can be a bit complicated, or at least they can seem that way, but truthfully they aren't really. I think the best example and the best way to think about it is to look at when we made the cabin. The ticket was something like remodel the garage into a cabin, but there were lots of child tickets like clean out the garage, run a water line, build kitchen cabinets, put down new flooring, etc., etc., etc. Child tickets are also used when we're working on a project for a customer. And to set up a new network, we might need child tickets for purchasing Ethernet lines, running wires, setting up network boxes, that type of thing. One issue with child tickets is that if you document a child ticket, it does not put that information on the parent ticket. So you can't expect other employees to somehow know to go look at a child ticket. So you really need to be sure to think about where you should document something and which of your coworkers are going to need that information. So that's just an issue with child tickets, is to keep in mind documenting a child ticket is not going to add that information to the parent ticket. When we were talking about creating tickets, I mentioned that we learned the hard way that sometimes our internal notes can end up being sent to customers. It is extremely important that you always remember to maintain professionalism when you're writing or documenting a ticket. That's for the reason that customers may see it, but it's also because other employees are going to see it. They don't want to have to read a paragraph about how frustrated you are with a customer's attitude. Keep the ticket professional at all times. Take a moment whenever you've finished documenting, but before you click update, and think, is this appropriate for a business environment? Would the customer be upset if they saw this? Would I be embarrassed if this was sent to the BBB to support a claim or to a lawyer because of a legal issue? Another point to remember in Freeside is to always be clear and concise. This is not the place to be wordy. But it's very important that others understand what you're saying. Take your time and think about the best way to explain what you're asking or stating. You'll find that many procedures have scripts for you to use. When you see a script, use that, copy and paste, and copy it out of the wiki and paste it right into Freeside. When we talked about all the cues that you can email to open a ticket, I didn't talk very much about one very important one, and that is the answers queue. So I'm going to circle back and talk about that now. The answers queue is a very important tool. During wiki training, we talked about always going to the wiki first when you have a question. There is a massive amount of information in the wiki, but you won't always find the answer to your specific question. Or you may find a procedure that should answer your question, but it's so outdated or poorly written that you're more confused after reading it than you were before. Either way, your next step is the answers queue. Simply email answers@williamjamesmorris.com. Put your question in the subject line, and in the body of the email, describe what information you're looking for. Then send the email. Not only will this help you get the answer that you're looking for, but it will start a chain reaction that will result in a new procedure being written so that others with the same question will be able to find their answer in the wiki. So please write down this email address if you haven't done that already. All right, I'm going to make my way back to the wiki and pull up PNW9. If you are in charge of one of the queues that receives emails, such as the answers queue, the help desk queue, or the maintenance queue, you will sometimes receive spam. Like all emails that come into these queues, the spam will be turned into a ticket. When you see one of these, you can use PNW9 to help you recycle the ticket. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I definitely think it's important that you know that this procedure exists so that you can come find it if you need it. Now I'm going to pull up PNX55. We're nearing the end, but I would be remiss if I did a whole video on Freeside and didn't talk about merging tickets. Sometimes there will be multiple tickets about the same thing. For example, if the internet went down at Ben's shoe store and the manager called us to let us know. Meanwhile, the sales rep just sent us an email to tell us that exact same thing. Now we have two tickets telling us that the internet is down at Ben's shoe store. That can cause problems and make it confusing for us. Maybe I document one of the tickets with important information, but you don't see it because you looked at the other ticket. Plus, it's just unnecessary to have two, so we would need to merge them. PNX55 will walk you through merging. It's one of those things that you should do slowly the first couple of times. Read through each step and do it carefully. Take your time. There's also a helpful video here in media support that can help you with this. And don't worry about it. Like, once you've done it a few times, it's not so bad. But take your time, and eventually you'll be able to do it faster and with ease. Okay, well, we have reached the end, and the next thing we're going to look at is the homework. So what I want you to do for your homework, and I would like you to do this now, unless it is absolutely the end of the day and you need to go home, in which case do it first thing tomorrow. But I prefer that you do it now while everything is fresh in your mind. I want you to create a human resources ticket. Do this by opening the wiki and searching for ticket queue email addresses. And this is the entire list. During this video earlier, I showed you the more common ones. This is the whole list of the ticket queues that you can get to through emailing. When you go through the list and find the human resources email address, then open an email and put that email address into the to position. The subject of your email should be your name and then the words Learning Freeside. The body should answer, when is it okay to resolve a ticket, and who should resolve a ticket? And that's it. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you've enjoyed.